Today I am going to make a project bag, a Halloween project bag. Hi everyone, happy Saturday. Welcome to my craft room. I am gonna make a project bag, a Halloween project bag, even though I think we're 6 days away from Halloween at this point, so I'm a little behind, but who cares? It'll be perfect to store my Halloween cross-stitch projects in year-round. So I recently finished this Primrose Cottage Halloween Quaker design, and I decided that to fully finish it, I wanted to turn it into one of my project bags. I thought about finishing this into a pillow, but then I thought, why not add it to a project bag that can store multiple Halloween cross-stitch projects? So that's what I'm gonna do today. I have my finished cross-stitch piece, which was stitched on 36 count Oaken by Picture This Plus, and mostly the called for threads. I give all the details on this project in my most recent vlog. And yeah, if you can see behind me, I have gathered my bin of Halloween fabrics, and I am going to turn my attention back over to the table and kind of dig through my scraps and figure out what kind of patchwork design I want to do, or basically, I'm gonna figure out what I want the outside of my bag to look like, and I need to finalize what bag style I'm going to make. I think I know, but let's take it over to the table and I'm gonna kind of let you follow me along as I turn cross stitch into a finished project bag. Okay, so I think the style of bag I'm gonna do is my newest project bag tutorial, which is the easy, quick, quilted, fold over style of bag. It just goes together so easily, and I think it's going to lend itself to adding cross stitch. Honestly, I think any of my bag tutorials will work with what I'm gonna do, but I think this is a style that I wanna put together today. I've kind of already started digging through my fabrics and pulling out ones that are kind of in the white, orange, yellow, black family. Because I think I want to do something very patchwork and scrappy around my cross stitch. But first thing, I think I need to know how big this is, and then I can start kind of figuring out my layout and where I actually want the cross stitch to be placed on my bag. Okay, so it's 4.5 by 4 3/4, meaning I should probably cut it out at 5.5 by 5.5, just to have a nice square. Actually, it doesn't matter. I could cut it out with exactly 1/2 inch margins on each side and be fine. Yeah, okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give myself a 1/2 inch margin on all 4 sides, and then that will give me a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then you'll have a 1/4 inch of fabric showing between the finished stitching and my patchwork. And I could even shrink that. I could even do 3/8 of an inch and leave like maybe just 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, but for now, I'm gonna start out by giving myself a 1/2 inch margin all around my cross stitch. But first I am going to press this at my ironing board. 1 second. So now I'm gonna use my little quilting ruler, and I'm gonna give myself a 1/2 inch margin on all sides of my cross stitch. So I'm gonna start with the right side and the bottom, and you can see I've just lined up the 1/2 inch mark right at the bottom right corner of my cross stitch. Okay, so now this is what we're working with. I feel like I want the cross stitch placed kind of off center on the front of the bag. And so what I think I'm gonna do is a little bit of like a log cabin style, where I'm gonna cut strips out of my scraps of fabric and first frame the cross stitch piece and then probably do more kind of like basically work from the corner out and do a little bit of a log cabin style for the rest of the piecing. First thing I need to do is start cutting out some strips and kind of deciding where I want to place everything. And I think I'm going to do everything with 2.5-inch strips. So let me see, what do I want right up against the cross stitch? I mean, this is already so freaking cute. Okay. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, I think this is gonna be what the pieces that frame, and then I'll just keep kind of building. So let's see. And then I could have, you know, that. And maybe that. And so like from here, right, it would just keep building longer. Like we would get a few more pieces to the width and then it would just be horizontal stripes and then it would wrap up and fold over. So if you've seen that tutorial, basically what you're making is a big long rectangle of quilted fabric that you then fold over into this shape. So that's what I need to get to, is kind of a big long rectangle of a quilt to turn into the bag. Yes, I think this is my starting point. I'm really excited. Okay, let's start cutting out some strips. And then one of these fabrics that I got the other day that I have like a full half yard of will probably end up being the lining. Oh, like the little hearts, or this, or this. Ooh, the plaid. It might be the plaid. Anyways, okay, so I've got lots of good options. This is going to be a little bit of an improvised quilt top, which is why I'm kind of showing you the whole process, because this is not like, I mean, it's a tutorial because obviously I'm going to show you what I'm doing, how I do it. This isn't something I've like prepped in advance and I know all my measurements and exactly how it's going to come together. So you're just going to have to follow along and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, let's put this aside so I don't accidentally cut it. And let's get some 2.5-inch strips. Yeah, that's probably too many layers, but that's okay. They're gonna be fine. I'm making this up as I go along. I don't have to be super precise, I say, as somebody who only wants to be super precise. I feel like this little orange and white stripe could be super cute for the binding, so I'm going to keep this one off to the side and not cut it into strips yet. Okay, I think I've got enough 2.5-inch strips to get started, and over here I have my kind of hero prints, the ones I want to be right around. I should have taken a picture, but I'm pretty sure I had it like that, and that. Yeah, okay, let's go get set up at the sewing machine and I'm going to show you how I put this together. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is a log cabin, like I mentioned. So I'm going to start this log cabin on the right side or the top? Sorry, now I'm questioning all my decisions. I'm going to start it on the right side. So I'm starting with this black piece. I'm just going to let it hang over the top and the bottom, and I'm going to square everything up kind of as I go. So I'm just lining up my edges here, and I'm just going to use a 1/4-inch seam, and we're going to sew this first in, and we're going to see how it looks. Perfect. Okay, yeah, this is going to be great. So then I'm just going to use my scissors to kind of roughly chop that because we'll square everything up. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to my ironing board, and I'm actually For the pieces that lay against the cross stitch, I'm gonna press my seam to the side to the fabric. And then once I'm working with just quilting fabric on quilting fabric, like once I've gotten everything sewn around the cross stitch, then I'll start pressing my seams open. But I don't want to press open on the cross stitch fabric because I just don't want to give it an excuse to fray. So I am just going to press my seams to the side to start with. Just gonna use a little bit of water to help to create some steam. And now we'll just square up the strip so that it makes the next step easier. Okay, perfect. Let's add the next strip. Okay, so from here, I'm going to rotate and now go down the bottom. Okay, and now I'm going to rotate it again, and I think the yellow strip was up next. I'm going to quickly add these next two pieces in the same way I just added the first two, and then I will figure out what our next steps are. Okay, there we have it, the very first pass. I'm obsessed with it. So I think as far as the layout, this here is gonna be the top corner of my bag, meaning the rest of the strips are gonna be added to the bottom, to the side, to the bottom, to the side until I reach the full width. And then I'll just keep adding strips to the bottom until I get the length I need to turn into my bag. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, so let me see, what do I want to go next? And then since this seam is just fabric on fabric, I'm gonna go ahead and press it open because I like to press my seams open. Just gonna set my little wooden clapper on to make the seam as flat as possible. So from now on, the stuff that hangs off the right side, I'm not gonna worry about trimming because this is gonna be the right side of the bag that's gonna get squared up anyways. I just need to make sure this edge and this edge are square. So makes my job trimming a little bit easier. Okay, this is measuring about 12 inches wide right now, so I think I'm gonna do one more strip across the bottom and one more strip along the width, and then I'm gonna have the full width of the bag that I need, and then I will just have to make it longer. This is turning out even better than I thought it would. I'm obsessed with this so far. And let's see, this is just at 13.5 inches wide. I think I might do one more strip to the width. Yeah. Let's see, what color do we want? Maybe like a dark orange? Okay, perfect. So now I have the full width and I just need to add probably 5 or 6 more strips to get the length that I want. So yeah, let me really quickly do that and then we will have our finished quilt top. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. I love it when a project turns out even better than in my mind, especially because I didn't have like the clearest plan going into this. Okay, my goal was to go for at least 22 inches in length, and I'm kind of already there. But I do want to do one more strip. I'm just trying to decide which strip because that's the one that will fold over and be visible along the top. So I want to make sure it looks good up against the top, really. And if I think I'm going to use that for binding, or do I have enough black and white stripe to do? I don't think I want black and white stripe, actually. I kind of wanted candy corn. I think I'd rather have a darker color though. I could do this, but it's already gonna be visible on the front where I have it here. So is that too much? I could do this yellow across the top. Ooh, I actually do like that yellow. And then to have the orange and white stripe as the binding. Yeah, okay. Let's do that. I think we're gonna end the bottom on the yellow because that will be what folds around to the top. I'm so fussy with my fabric placement. I'm just trying to, it's just, I was gonna say it's too much yellow close together, but the yellow won't be visible on the back of the bag, so it won't really be too much yellow together. Yeah, okay, let's do the yellow. Okay, so we've got our finished quilt top panel. And so now this is the point at which I'm just gonna follow my project bag tutorial pretty exactly. Instead of quilt batting, I'm going to use a double-sided fusible foam because way quicker and easier for at-home quilting to use like a fusible. So now I am just going to get all my parts and pieces cut out and prep my quilt top for quilting. The fusible I am using is by Pellon. It's FF79F2. I will link all of my supplies and things that I'm using in this video down in the description box below if you're looking for any of my supplies. Okay, and now I need to decide what I want to use for the lining of my bag. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this plaid. I always like to use a lighter color for the lining of my bags. So all of these honestly would work, but I'm gonna go with the lightest color. So this is just my double-sided fusible, and I'm gonna get my lining adhered down, and then we will work on the quilt top side. I really need like a big, huge ironing board. I just don't have any space in this room for a bigger ironing board. All right, so that is my little quilt sandwich and what will eventually get turned into the bag. So the next step is to go to my sewing machine and do some quilting lines. Okay, so I am just going to use my patchwork pieces to follow as a guideline for my quilting lines. I'm gonna keep it pretty simple, and I'm not gonna actually quilt inside of my cross stitch. I am just gonna start my quilting right along the edges of my log cabins. So yeah, I am just going to probably do just some kind of 2-inch apart lines following my patchwork and call it a day on the quilting. Okay, so for right now, I'm gonna go ahead and cut down the top and the bottom with a straight edge, and then we're gonna figure out kind of the overall size of the bag, and I'm gonna figure out if I wanna take anything off the width, off the height, but I'm gonna start doing kind of a rough square up of the top and bottom. So that's gonna end up being the height of it. I think I may take like a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch off the sides just to make it a little bit closer to my like standard size project bag. Yeah, because let's see, how big is this measuring? Yeah, it's 15 inches long, and I normally keep my project bags about 13 inches. I don't know if I want to take off that much. Man, I really could have done without this whole piece. Maybe if I do 14 inches, I'm gonna do 14.5 inches, and I am gonna take it out of both pieces by taking basically a 1/4 inch off. Okay, perfect, that's what I'll do. Okay, so this is gonna be the size of the project bag, roughly. So the front and the back. Okay, I think this is so cute. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is prep my bindings, and then we'll attach the zipper, the bindings, and the bag will be done. Actually, before I do that, let me see if I have a label I wanna put on this. I don't really have any tags that look Halloween-y. I could use this gray one. Yeah, why don't I just use this gray one? And I think I'll put it on the back of the bag, like on one of the, like maybe on this light colored strip. Okay, so let's do that. And then I'll get my bindings cut out. These are just iron-on labels, and then I'll just top stitch around it to secure it to the bag. And really all I'm gonna make sure is that I'm putting it on the right way up. So if this is the right way up at the front, then this is the right way up at the back. So I'm gonna just put it, I think, down here on what'll end up being like the bottom left of the bag. Yeah, I'm gonna put it right there. Okay, I actually moved it down into the yellow because this yellow section will be a little bit closer to the bottom. Okay, I think that turned out so cute. Oh, so cute. Okay, now let me cut out the binding. And let's make sure that I really want to use this kind of orange and white stripe. I'm gonna clip the bag into place. I mean, that is pretty cute. Let me figure out what zipper color I want to use too. That's also important to this process. Well, that's pretty good. Okay. Too bad I'm not doing like a more modern Halloween print, because this purple is awesome, but not for the colors of this bag. Ooh, okay. I do have a bright Halloween orange, but that's not really the vibe of this bag. And I have a yellow, but that's too much yellow. I could do a white. I could do a black. Is that too much black? Let's see. Ooh, I kind of like that black. Man, I wish you guys could talk to me right now and you weren't watching this after I already made the decision, because do we go black? Or do we, ooh, I think I like this better. The black is cool, but yeah, okay. I'm gonna go with the brownie orange. Okay, and then I'm just gonna follow my tutorial. I need 2 pieces of binding for the top and bottom, and then 1 for each side. Okay, I had to stop recording for a second to look at my own instructions and figure out how wide I cut my binding strips. And the answer is 2 inches. Oh my gosh, this is turning out so stinking cute. I'm obsessed with it. Okay, time to put in the zipper. Okay, now I need to make sure I have everything where I want it before I attach the side bindings. And really what that means is making sure the zipper is straight across the bag and isn't higher or lower on one side, really. Yeah, so it's pretty much 2.5 inches down from the top, which based on where my quilting lines are and where the bag wants to fold is how I'm gonna leave it. I think in my original bag, I might have had the zipper a little closer to the top, but I have these quilting lines here and my bag really wants to fold at this point, so I'm just gonna let it do its thing. And then very important, move your zipper pull to the center so you don't accidentally sew it or cut it off or whatever. Oh, so cute. So now we just need to attach our last 2 pieces of binding and it'll be done. I'm not really happy with this corner. You can see it sticks up. It's like 1/8 of an inch, but I'm gonna fix it because it's gonna bother me if I leave it. Because this part dips in, like, you see what I mean? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna seam rip and fix this. And it looks so cute from the back too. Oh, I love it. Okay, last side. Hi friends, it is the next day now. I finished sewing up this bag late last night and I could not be happier with how this turned out. I think it's so cute. I know I said it before, but it turned out even better than the loose vision I had in my head. I'm really happy I kind of played off the candy corn colors. I mean, it's just 4 colors in the stitching, black, white, orange, and yellow. And so that's what I tried to stick to for my fabrics, and I really like this pop of yellow in with the orange and black and white. I'm really happy with how this like kind of log cabin styling turned out. My little tag. These are from Sweetwater Quilt Company. I'll link to them. I love them. I use them on my quilts normally, but I thought that looked super cute on the bag. Really, really happy with my orange and white binding choice and the dark orange zipper. And then I've got the cute plaid inside. And now the only thing that this needs is a project to go inside of it. I have been storing two projects in this bag. One is my, let me just pull it out and show it to you. One is my Summer's Day from Jed X Stitch. And that is gonna stay in this little red bag here. But one of my recent Halloween projects has also been living in this bag, and now it gets its very own project bag. This is Birds of a Feather, Remember Me. I started this about a month ago, I think, with a few friends. And that's what it's looking like right now. I'm stitching this on 36 count Stone Fruit by Lappin' Loops. And I'm using mostly the called for flosses. So now this little project gets its own super cute project bag. Perfect. Yay. So happy with this. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found this entertaining and helpful. And if you did, maybe consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. I never ask that in my videos. It makes me feel awkward, but I don't know. If you're watching and enjoyed, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.